Hi everybody. In this tutorial, I want to show you how to find all missing door tags in your project across any views that you're going to select. This will be really useful to help you avoid errors because doing such tasks manually will certainly cause human errors, especially if you have a lot of floor plans in your project. It's also going to be very simple to follow along and I will explain everything that I do. So let's jump straight into Revit and we're going to begin this lesson. Right here you can see I have a sample project and it's just one of the floor plans. First, we're going to make it work for one single floor plan, and then later I'm going to show you how to make it across multiple floor plans. And here you can see there are a bunch of different door tags, and for example, that door is missing a door tag. In my case, I already know this, but otherwise that might be hard to find on certain floor plans. So how can we do it with Python? First of all, we need to create a button in our PyRevit extension. I've already prepared it right here, and if you're completely new to PyRevit, don't worry. I have a whole video where I'm going to show you how to create your own Revit toolbar in less than 5 minutes, because I'm going to provide you a starter kit with a lot of examples. Then, once you're going to create a button, inside, here's the code. It's very simple, as you can see. There is name of the button. This is UTF-8 encoding for the code, which is always going to be the same. Here, I import everything from Autodesk Revit DB, and we need these two variables. Doc represents our project, and UI doc represents UI, kind of Revit interface of the project. And now we're going to begin. First of all, there are different ways to actually do this. And the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to first get all doors and tags in the view, and then I'm going to compare and see which doors do not have associated tag with them. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to write here all doors in view, and then I'm going to use filtered element collector to get all doors from the active view. It's also very simple to use it. We need to provide here a doc, and we need to provide ID of an active view or any other view. To get an active view, luckily we can use the doc variable. It's going to be active view equals doc, and then there is active view property, which is like this. Now, if you're completely new to filtered element collector, don't worry, I also written an ebook where I have a really good explanation. I'm going to show you anatomy of filtered element collector on the screen, and you can see there are 4 steps. First of all, you need to create collector itself. That we already did. Then we need to decide, do we want to filter by class or category? Do we want to filter only instances or types? And then we're going to convert it into a list of elements. Here's how to do this. We have our filtered element collector, where we provide our active project, and we're going to provide our active view. This way, we're going to get elements only from the view. And also keep in mind that usually that might slow down your execution, but in this case, it's going to be very simple and quick way to get it. Then I'm going to write here that I want to get elements of category, and I need to choose one of the built-in categories. I'm going to put a dot, and in my case, I want to get doors, so let's write doors. This is going to give us both instances and types. So logically, the next step is going to be where element is element type or not element type. In my case, I want instances, so I'm going to select this one, not element type. And then we're going to convert it to elements. And listen, I know that this looks like a very long kind of and scary line of code, but don't worry, it's actually very simple. We create a collector, we choose to filter the category, we choose to filter instances, and we convert to elements. And guess what? It's also very repetitive. Next time, if you want to get floors, you just change it here. Now you're going to get all instances of floors. But in our case, actually, we want to get our door tags. And they are right here. You can see now we got this one is going to be door tags in view. Great. We can keep it as one line, but to be honest, I want to zoom in. So maybe I'm going to break it into multiple lines. I can put this slash here, and it allows me to break one Python code into multiple lines. Python will still read it as a single line because this symbol sort of says like, okay, continue reading on the same line as the same. Now let's also do it here. Yeah, that should be good. Now I can zoom in and you should see everything at once. So we get our doors and we get our door tags in view. We can also test it, and for beginners, it's really good to always print and see if you're getting the right elements. So let's do that. We're gonna print. I'm gonna write the length of the list, because this is a list of elements, and we can write how many elements did we get. Now let's come here, click on find missing door, and you can see we're getting 29 doors and 25 tags. So theoretically, there are 4 doors without a tag. There can be more because certain doors can have multiple tags, and we will address this. But let's go back to the code, and we're gonna continue. So let's first of all make here a comment. I'm gonna click window key and dot and click on 1. This way I can select these emojis, and I like to organize my code like this. Normally, people would not recommend you to do that, but for tutorials, it's actually very helpful to kind of organize and make it more appealing. So the first step was get doors and door tags in view. Now we don't need these print statements anymore. And now let's go to the step number 2. And we're going to find untagged doors. Let's make some space. So for this step to find untagged doors, I'm going to start by getting all the tagged doors. And the way to do this is we're going to create a list, tagged doors equals empty list. Then I want to iterate for tags, for tag in all tags in view, all door tags. I'm going to put a colon. Now we want to get all related elements to this tag. We're going to write tag elements equals. Then there's a method that we can apply for the tag called get tagged local elements. Doesn't take any arguments, and I'm going to show you on the screen how it looks. You can also notice that it's an unresolved reference. This is because our PyCharm is not sure what is the class of this element tag, and that's fine. We can just ignore it. Now we get our tag elements. Now I can say tag doors plus equals tag elements. So we're going to get a list of all tag doors. Now I want to convert it to tag door IDs. And in there, we're going to use list comprehension. I'm going to write, I want to get door ID for door in tag doors. So if you're new to list comprehensions, inside we have a loop right here, what we're iterating over. And in the beginning, we say what is going to be returned. In our case, we want to return door ID. This way you can kind of manipulate your lists, filter them, and do a lot of cool stuff in just one line of code. We could also make all of that inside of the list comprehension, but I just want to keep it simple for you. Now, if this is a list of all tag doors, now I can get a list of all untagged doors. We're again going to use list comprehension because this is the best way to kind of iterate through existing lists. Right here, we have all doors in view, and we're going to iterate through them. So it's going to be simple. We're going to say door for door in all doors in view. Now, here is the catch. We can also add here an if statement in the end. I'm going to write if, and I'm going to write door ID, not in tagged door IDs. Let's break it down for a second. So it's clear that right here we have a loop that we're iterating over. Then in beginning, we say what's going to be returned. It's going to be returned exactly the same element. But in the end, we also add if statement. Return this only if this statement is true. And in here, we say if door ID is not in the list of tagged doors. So this way, we're going to get a list of all untagged doors. And again, there are so many different ways to achieve the same results. This is just the way I decided to do this. And now let's just quickly test it. I'm just going to write here print untagged doors. I'm just going to see what we are getting. Now I'm going to go back to Revit, click on the button, and I can see I'm getting a list of elements. This is pretty good. So family instance, and so on. So I assume they are all doors. Now let's just come back for a second and actually do it a bit differently. Because I want to verify what we are actually getting. So I'm going to write here step number 3, select untagged doors. And it's not that complicated. To be honest, all we have to do, we need to use UI doc. Then there's selection. Then there's a method called set element IDs. And now we can provide a list of element IDs. But keep in mind, it has to be I collection of element IDs or I list of element IDs, because this is a .NET typed list. To use it, we need to import CLR. Then in CLR, we're going to add reference to system. Then from system, collection, generic, we're going to import list. This is a typed list from .NET framework. Now, I know that it's highlighted in red. This is because I'm using Python 3.10, but listen, it doesn't matter what Python version you use. The code is going to be executed by PyRevit engine, and PyRevit engine know how to handle this line, so just ignore it for now. Now, the reason we need this list is so we can take these untagged doors, and actually, I want to make it right away untagged door IDs. I forgot to do this. Let's make it like this. Instead of doors, we're just going to return door IDs, and that's it. Now, to convert it into a list of untagged door IDs, we're going to write here list. Then we need to specify what kind of type of elements can go inside. We say element ID, and we can provide our Python list. So we're going to take our Python list and convert it into a .NET list of element IDs. In .NET, it's necessary because this way we can control the only type that can go inside of this list. If you're going to try to add anything else, you're going to get an error saying you cannot do this. And it's actually a good type hinting process. Now, and let's paste it right here. So this is going to select untagged doors. This should help us understand what we are actually even doing here. So let's go back here, click on that one, and I get an error. No module named collection. This is because I misspelled something. Let's go back. And I think this is because this is collections, multiple instead of singular. So let's go back, click on that one. Yeah, now it works. I can see right away that I'm getting doors selected. I can isolate them, and here's what's going on. So I can see that these kind of doors, they're not selected, and this is just door opening. That might be fine, but at least we found that this one is supposed to be selected. We could also ignore this kind of doors. Says here door opening is the family name, and I could just kind of get the type, family name, and check if it has the opening in the name, just ignore it. In this case, I'm just going to keep everything. But if you want to do something, you will do it somewhere here. Because in here, you're getting all untagged doors. You could look into them and make if statements to make sure what you want to filter out. In my case, I want to keep it simple. I'm going to leave it. All right, so the first step is working. We can find all the untagged doors. Let's go to another level. Try there. For example, I click. I only get that one. Now, if I'm going to remove a few tags, for example, here and here, and I'm going to try it again. Now I select these doors as well. So far, it's working great. Now what we need to do is we need to select a bunch of different views and do it there. How do we do this? So let's go back to code. And first of all, I'm going to comment it out so I can provide you the code snippet of it as it is. And then I'm going to duplicate it again. This time I'm going to modify this. So what I want to do is I want to create a function from this one, right? I get my doors in views tags, and I want to find untagged doors. I'm going to write here define find untagged doors, and obviously we're going to be providing view. And we're going to take all of that and move it to the right. Now, ideally, I would keep it outside of the function, but for this tutorial, I think I will keep it inside. Then we don't need any print statements. You could do them if you want to. Here we are finding the door tags. This is fine. This is fine. Then right here, we're going to return untagged door IDs. We don't need this part because this was just temporary to select elements in the Revit. Great. And one important thing is that we're providing the view, we are not using it anywhere. So we need to make sure that we kind of use it right here instead of active view. This way, we're going to provide any view we want, and we're going to get untagged views. And also keep in mind that when you use filtered element collector with the view kind of argument, it might add up to execution time because your Revit would need to load this view, look at it to find all the visible elements. That's the way it works. All right, so we have a function and it returns untagged door IDs. Now we can kind of collapse it if you want to. I'm going to come back to this maybe later. Now what we need to do, we need to select views. There are different ways to do this, and if you use PyRevit, you're really, really lucky. I'm going to write from PyRevit import forms. Then there is amazing form, selected views equals forms. What was it? It was select views, and it doesn't even need any arguments. You could provide it, and I'm going to show you documentation on the screen, but it's not really necessary. Right there you can see you can provide title, button name, with multiple filter function, doc, use selection, and so on. For me, you know what? I'm okay with the default one. So we're gonna write for view in selected views, print view name. They just quickly test it so you know that you are getting the right views. So here is a button. I click on it right away. I get this menu to select views. I notice that you can have the same view name across different view types. So there can be the same view name L2 for the ceiling plan, floor plan, different area plans. There's L2 for the floor plan, ceiling plan, different area plans. It can be also for structural plans and so on. Just keep this in mind. In our case, let's just find this L and we're going to write floor plan. And listen, for this one, I'm just going to select everything. There are a lot of different views just to see that I'm getting a list of views. So far, everything works great. Now we're going to the final stage, and this is where we're actually going to make it all work together. So we have this function that we prepared. Maybe let's call it step number 4, create a reusable function. And this was step number 5, select views. Now the final step, step number 6, we are going to find all missing door tags. Find missing door tags. There are different ways to do this, and I want to make a lot of print statements so it's easy to work with. I will need another import to make it more beautiful. You can skip it if you want to, but I want to, from PyRevit, import script. Then I want to get my output menu. It's going to be a script get output. And this will allow me to use the output to write print MD, and MD stands for the Markdown language. This way I can create headers, bold text, linked elements, and so on. So I'm gonna write here the first heading, missing door tags report. We could also make, for example, 3 dashes, and in Markdown, it represents a kind of horizontal line. So let me just show you how it looks. I'm gonna click here, select some views. Here's how it looks. I'm getting a huge heading, the horizontal line, and it's gonna be more structured than having everything in the same kind of font. Now let's come back. We're gonna remove this part because we don't wanna print anything. So how are we gonna find missing door tags? Here's what we're gonna do. First of all, we're gonna iterate for view in selected views. And then we need to get our untagged doors. For that, we're gonna use this function that we already prepared. Inside, we're gonna get all door and door tags in view. And we're gonna find all untagged doors. And we're gonna return them as a list of element IDs. That's important thing to know. So let's make sure that here we write untagged door IDs. Here we're gonna write find untagged door. And I wanna rename it to door ID so it's always clear what I'm getting. I'm gonna provide a view. Now, this is supposed to give us a list of all untagged door IDs. Now we can actually make a print statement. I'm gonna write if untagged door IDs, then we're gonna do the following. I'm gonna write here for door ID in untagged doors IDs. And here we also gonna do one really cool thing. We could just print this kind of door ID. And maybe somewhere here we could write, print view name. And that could work. Let's just quickly run it just so you understand what I mean. So I'm gonna select just one view, so maybe two. Let's run it, and you see this is kind of messy. We're getting kind of the name of the view and then a bunch of different IDs. It's not really useful because Parade has an amazing feature that I'm gonna show you. For example, here for the view, we can create Linkify view. This is gonna be a clickable button in the output menu that's gonna be linked to your view. So you will be able to click it and open the view. To do this, we're gonna use output, Linkify, and it takes two arguments. First, we need an ID of an element. Then we can provide the text that's going to be shown to the user. In my case, I want to have view name. And then we can bring this Linkify view instead. And this is how it's going to look. Let me just try it. I'm going to select just two. Now have a look. There's something wrong with the sizing. I'm not sure what's going on. Usually it's fine. I think it's because I'm zoomed in to 125% of my screen. But you can see there is like L2. And if I click on it, it's going to be interactive because it's going to be opening views. Now we're going to do the same for our doors. Now we're going to write here Linkify door equals going to be output Linkify. I'm going to take door ID and we need to get some name here. For the name, I think we can get door from door ID. I'm going to use doc get element door ID. And now we're going to write here door name, which is going to be the name of the door type, which is totally fine. And now we can print Linkify door. I also don't want to just print this, so we're going to make here a formatting string. I'm going to write here missing tag door. And then we're going to provide our Linkify. We're going to put it right here. So it's going to take the place of this placeholder right here. Then we also can do the same for the view. We can also make it much nicer. So we're going to write here output, print MD. And inside, I think I'm going to use the heading 3. Then I'm going to write view. And with format, we're going to provide this Linkify view. This way it's going to be bigger, more kind of prominent and easier to read. Then if we have any untagged doors, then we're going to kind of go and print it. And actually, I only want to print views if there are kind of any missing tags. And if view doesn't have any missing tags, then we can make another print statement and write here something. View blah, blah, blah has no doors with missing tags. Right, that's a good thing. And now the last thing, I would also add here the horizontal line, so it's much nicer to read. Let me just double check if I haven't forgotten anything. All right, so in here, we iterating for the views, we're getting our untagged door IDs, then we're creating if untagged door IDs, then Then we're going to print what's the view that's missing it. And we're going to print all the kind of information about the doors that missing the tag. Or otherwise, if there are no untagged door tags, we're just going to print that the view have no doors with missing tags. Now we're going to end it always with a kind of horizontal line for each iteration of a view. Now, the moment of truth, we're going to go to Revit and actually test it. So let's click here. Let's say I want to get my L2 floor plan. Then I want to find L3 floor plan, L4, maybe L5. Right? Right, you can see there are some views selected. So click on select, and now we're going to get this report. I know it's a little bit unreadable, but this is because of my zoom setting. Normally that would be fine for you. Now we can go and investigate. So for example, here I'm going to click on this view, and it's already open, so nothing changes. And I can go and click on each item. So for example, that one is right here. This is fine, I don't mind it. Then another one is right here. And then this one, you already see different type. And it's hard to see it, so I'm going to isolate, and I can see it's right here. And indeed, it's missing a tag. Also, it's actually not even supposed to be shown here, but you can also go and kind of verify that all doors that have no tags, they're actually supposed to be there. Why not? Now, let's just go, for example, to level number 5 and then see. Okay, there's view here, and it's going to be that one. Then another one. And you see that right now I'm kind of going all around looking for this. There is a better way. Let's say that I'm looking here and I have no idea where they are. Right here next to the ID, you also have this magnifying glass. If you click on it, it's going to jump straight to this door, so it's much easier to find it. For example, if I'm going to click right here, you can see I'm going to go to L4 view and I'm going to find it right away. Now I can go and kind of tag all my doors that missing a tag. Now this tool is really usable, and you can actually save quite a lot of time and make sure your projects come out much cleaner than you would expect. Alright guys, and that's it for this video. I hope you're gonna find it useful and you will never have any missing tags on your doors anymore. And not just doors. Actually, I wanna encourage you to change the script a little bit and find all the missing tags on the windows, maybe on generic families and so on. Just make sure that the plans that you send out, they never have any missing tags again. And it's also much easier to find all the missing information. Listen guys, many of you might find it exciting, but you might still feel a little bit overwhelmed with all the code. And don't worry, it just means that probably you're missing some Python or Revit API basics, and that's fine. We all start somewhere. So I would like to offer you my free ebook Beginner's Guide to Revit API. It will provide you a roadmap of what you need to learn, provide a lot of examples, and also explanations so you can actually begin your learning journey. You can find a link in the description where you can download it for free. And my name is Eric Fritz, and I want to wish you happy coding. Goodbye.